Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
From Loving BDSM.
Welcome.
Back for another 5 things you ought to know.
Yep.
You need to know, you should know. Still working on that title. This week we're talking about a really cheerful topic. DS breakups. I think you can ask anybody who's ever gone through one. They're awful.
They're tough.
But I think there's some things that can help us all sort of going forward. And if you have not been through one yet, you're maybe just exploring kink and DS for the first time. Knowing this stuff doesn't necessarily make it any easier, but it might help you get through it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay. Number 1, they may feel worse than any vanilla breakup.
So vanilla breakups can be awful, but as somebody who's gone through a DS breakup, I could not have imagined anything worse. And if you go through a breakup and you're truly feeling like your heart has just been ripped out of your chest, you are not overthinking it. That is not hyperbole. For many of us, a DS breakup is much harder because we give so much of ourselves to a DS relationship that maybe we should have given to a vanilla relationship, but we didn't. So here we were in this DS thing, sub or dom or switch. It does not matter your title, but you communicated in a way that you probably never have before. You trusted in a way that you never have before. You did things, you let that person in potentially a way that you never did before. So yes, if it feels worse than anything you've ever been through, it probably is. And that doesn't mean vanilla breakups are all easy. It just, that's the nature, I think, of the connection we form and the bond we form in DS.
Yeah, because it's such a deep connection. You have communication.
Yep.
You know, the trust.
You do things usually with your DS partner that you've never done with anybody else.
Right.
The first DS breakup might be the worst, but you know, every relationship is different. So there is no better or worse. There is just, they're hard. And it can absolutely be harder than any other breakup you've ever had.
Yeah. Number 2, let yourself grieve.
This is true for any breakup. This is true for the ending of anything. This is the death of a relationship. A thing that at one point you thought might last forever, or at least for longer than it did, or that there might be a future that now is gone. That's worthy of grieving. You need to give yourself time to feel horrible and to cry or to just be quiet or to, for a short time, withdraw from people if that's what you need to do. The hardest part for us all to figure out is the line between we're grieving and that's okay and that's healthy versus we've gone to an unhealthy place. So I would say let your friends know what you're going through. My DS breakup was very difficult because none of my local friends understood the relationship I was in. I had nobody from a kink community that could support me. I was very fortunate. I had a very good close friend who, she didn't understand why I was such a basket case and why I lost my appetite for 3 weeks and I could barely function for 3 weeks. That was my grieving process, but she was there for me. So if you have somebody you can trust to sort of look out for you and let you have that space, but also be the one to sort of check on you and pull you out as the process goes on, do that. It's a huge benefit to just not be alone completely, but it is absolutely okay to grieve this loss.
Yeah. Number 3, do not stalk your ex online.
Okay, so I totally get this. You know their FetLife account or their Twitter or their wherever they're at. And
Tumblr or whatever.
Right. What are they doing? What are they posting? Who are they talking to? Please don't. Please. I would say this to anybody in a vanilla relationship. Please don't. I did it. That person had a blog. I was on that blog every day trying to read, trying to see what was being posted, what was going on. It is not healthy. It does not help you move on. Depending on what you're finding and what you're discovering, if they're even posting anything or not, you could just send yourself into a worse grieving spiral because now you might be faced with the fact that they've moved on, they're talking to somebody else, whatever it is. Just, I beg of you, do your best. Have that friend that you can trust to go, just take my phone away from me because I can't stop looking. Please, please, please do not haunt all of their online spaces while you go through this process. It's not worth it. It will only hurt you.
More.
It does nothing to them. It only hurts you.
Okay. Number 4, learn from it.
So most of the time, these things really are not a surprise in retrospect. There was a sign, there was a something. From a submissive perspective, if you were going through sub-frenzy through this, you probably overlooked a lot of stuff that in normal circumstances you would have gone, oh no, I'm not okay with that. Or, oh, that was a sign that this wasn't as serious as I thought it was. So once you've grieved, once you've gotten to the point where you can sort of get out of bed and sort of function through life again, yeah, it still hurts and you're still heartbroken, but you're a little calmer about it. Get real with yourself about what they did, what you did, where things maybe weren't quite right, what you overlooked that was a sign that this was not going to last, or that they were not the right person, or you were not the right person for them, or whatever the circumstances were. Especially if it's a breakup that you find out later they were seeing other people, they had lied to you, there was some sort of breach of trust, and that was part of that breakup. Look back and get very real with yourself about what happened so you can learn from it. You will learn what to look for in yourself and other people for future relationships. It doesn't mean you won't ever go through another breakup or that you won't ever have a broken heart again, but it does mean that you might be a little bit better equipped to handle the next relationship, to see things as they are, to say, oh, I'm not putting up with that, or no, that's not okay, and to adjust your boundaries, and then just to learn from the mistakes that were made. There are always mistakes made.
Yeah.
No relationship is perfect in general. And then when a relationship ends, it's usually hindsight being 2020. We can see where things started to go wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Number 5, you will heal.
If you are fresh off of a DS breakup, I know it does not feel like you will ever feel any better than you do right now, or that the worst thing, especially from a submissive perspective, is that you will always be alone and there will never be anybody who will be there for you again, and you will never have this relationship. Those thoughts, I think, are common. I think they're common in any breakup. But because of the type of relationship we establish between dom and sub, any power exchange, it feels worse. We said that at the top. It just feels worse. So it's easier to feel hopeless about it. That was the only dominant. That was the only other kinkster who understood your kinks. That was the only other switch that you could have fun with. Well, that's never true. There's never only one. There's 7 billion people on the planet, y'all. There's never just one. You were never the only one, and neither was that person. And there is somebody out there for you, maybe not in the way you expect, certainly not when you expect, and they probably won't look, sound, or be anything like you expect them to be. They will probably shock the hell out of you. I met John Brownstone on the heels of my DS breakup, when I thought that my heart had been ripped out of my chest, broken into a million pieces, and scattered in front of me. I had convinced myself I would fuck around. I would even get kinky. I could never possibly love again. And years later, y'all, love, married, 24/7 submissive, things do change. Things absolutely can change. You can heal from this. You can grow from this. Life can get better. Allow yourself the time to feel like shit. Allow yourself the time to hurt. That's okay. But you believe somewhere deep down inside, even if you're not quite ready to admit it yet, that you won't always be like this. It will get better. Whether it's you find another connection or something changes, it does get better. You just have to get through the beginning first. Okay. So this is not everything about a DS breakup. It just isn't. If you have learned some hard lessons from DS breakups, and how many of us have not, feel free to comment below so we can help our other fellow kinksters who may have been blindsided by this or will be blindsided by this in the future. Everything we've ever said or done or talked about DS breakups, and we have done a few things about it in the past, we'll link down below. So if you want to dive into this topic, you can. It's a touchy subject, so we understand if you're like, no, this hurts. I don't want to go any further. But the thing I would probably want you to know more than anything is what you're going through is normal, and you're not alone. And you won't always feel this way. And if you can just take that information and sort of store that away, that would be great. So that's it for this week.
Yes.
5 things you ought to know, you need to know. If there are any suggestions on titles, y'all go ahead, comment below. We're good with that. If you like what we do and want to help us do more of it, consider becoming one of our kinky patrons on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You can help us make more videos and podcasts and get a better camera eventually.
Yes.
The link is below, or you can go to patreon.com/KaylaLords.